This is a little video I'm doing on assembling a mini album, like as a journal. Maybe not that one, because that's got inclusions, but I'm showing the assembly of making a book like this. And it's a very simple book to make. So this is by special request from Nancy Martinez, and so Nancy, this one's for you, my darling. I hope you make one along with me, because I'm itching to see yours too. But just so's you get to see from my last video what I've done to the journals I did show, is I did end up trimming off this little book, and I've left it all white actually because I quite liked it like that. Got the pages stuck, the front cover stuck to this book, so that's all ready to use now. And these two, oh, it doesn't want to stay, does it? And I've got the front covers of these two ready as well. So I shall work on this slightly larger one, and so what I'm going to do is make 4 signatures. In case you don't know, Nancy, signatures are these. So there's, you can see, what is it? There's 4 there. So each fold of several pages together is called a signature. So here we start. I'm working with, this is printer card. It does come in various grams. I think it's grams you call it. But I'm because these are only like, it's only thin printer card. They call it paper, but it's thin card really. Got 4 A4 sheets, and each is going to be folded in half. And I use a bone folder to get nice crisp fold lines. And I'll do that with all 4 to that one signature. And because I'm making up 4 signatures, I'm going to fold all the others like that, so that I form 4 signatures. That's yeah, so that makes 4. So I'll be back in a minute with all my pages folded. Okay, so here's my 4 signatures, and there's 4 sheets of card to each signature. And so the next thing is to cut a piece of card. Bear with me a sec. You want to sort of gauge a rough thickness, so I'm going to go like this, give them a little bit of a splay out, and you want to have an inch or 2 at least poking out from either side of it. And I'll just mark this roughly the same the other side. Doesn't have to be spot on. And next is to cut it. And then after that, score it. It's not an exact science, so well, not the way I'm doing it anyway. So I just right, so if I go 1.5 to 2.5, right. Ooh. So I'm scoring it. No, so I go at 1.5 and at 2.5. So I've got an inch spine being scored there. Don't know if you can see it. And then I know it's not equal either side, but it doesn't matter because these flaps here aren't going to be seen. So the next thing is to fold your scores so you get nice crisp folds. And I just come in about 1/2 inch or so, and I'll make 4 spots of where I roughly want my where I roughly want to sew in my my signatures. Okay, so the next thing is I've got a bit of doubled up sponge here. I don't know where it come from, but it's been right handy. So if you've got a nice bit of pardon me, thick sponge, then go for it. Oh, and also, oh, I should have done this as well. You wanna cut 2. Should have said that at the beginning. I'll just quickly cut it on here, don't matter. Right, so that's that done. And this bit, I'm just going to glue to the bit I've scored and marked out with the dots. Now, if you was doing proper bookbinding, Nancy, you would actually do more stitches. But because for a journal, I'm just doing like 1 long stitch, so I've got the choice of adding an inclusion or not. I'm not worrying about having any more stitches, so I'm just making it so as it's got 1 long stitch. So I'll just go in and fold my things again. Okay, so it's nice and stiff now. So you might want to double yours if your card is thinner than mine, or as thin. So now that's done, I'm going to make the 4 pilot holes. And I'm using, well, it's in effect, it's called a lace draping tool, but it's just really like a thickish needle with a nice fine tip, pointy tip. Just poke to your heart's delight, giving your tool a little wiggle so you open up the holes a bit more. So you've got 4 holes either end, roughly 1/2 inch inset in the spine. So the next thing is to get your I'm using button thread. You don't, for just doing a journal like this, you don't need to use wax thread like you would in bookbinding. Just use button thread. Make sure it is strong like button thread, because it's gonna get some wear and tear. And thread up your needle with about a metre or so of button thread, and once you've got it threaded up, fold it in half. And just to help you, I knot the ends. You're not needing a knot really, but it does help to keep your ends together when you're threading through. So with my signatures, I'll sew one in at a time roughly. So I'm using this as a guide. You're going to use this afterwards anyway, but to use it as a guide, I look for my my fold and go into the first hole and poke it in and push through. So you see, I lined up this hole, the first hole, in with the crease of the signature. Then do the same the other end. It's a bit fiddly once you get started, but you will get there. So there's my holes. Can you see? There and there. You want to do that same thing to your other 3 signatures. But remember to use these holes as your guide. Like stick your needle in with the edge of this card to that edge, poke and keep your tool level, and then guide it to the crease and then poke through. That's a quick way, believe it or not. Oh Nancy, I hope you do this with me. I really do. So marrying it up to the other edge, find the crease line and push through. So that's my other one. And I'm going to crack on ahead and do these other 2. So now we're going to start stitching in the signatures. So with me knotted end on the outside of this spine, go into the first bottom hole like that and leave a tail roughly 6-7 inches long. Go in through the hole of your signature. Oops. Go along to the other side, the other end, go through your signature and out through the spine again. And you'll see that's got your one big stitch down the middle like that. So you can put an inclusion in if you want. So now is to tie it up. Now I go round twice like that and then pull tight and hold your thumb where that knot will be, keeping your thread as tight as you can, but not too tight where you're ripping the holes with your thread. And then with your good hand, yeah, you want a little bit of a spring there, and get it nicely knotted off. So that's one signature sewn in. Leave a bit of a tail just in case. I don't know why, I don't know, but it's a just in case. So that's your first one sewn in. So you want to continue doing that with your other 3 signatures. So you want a good metre length of thread again. Using scissors that should cut thread, not like mine that are blunt as old Harry. Don't forget to knot your ends together because it will help a little bit. Just one knot will do, doesn't have to be anything elaborate. So I'll show you again with the next signature. So go in the next hole up, pull some thread through, leaving a tail, go through to your next hole in the signature, pull through, leaving a tail, don't forget, follow on along over to the other end, push your needle through, go through the next hole in the spine, and that's all it is, Nancy. And just to help to keep it flat, fold it in half onto its front. Get it nice and tight and make a knot while you're holding the knot in place. So there we are. Again, leave a tail, and again I don't know why, but it's always best to, I suppose. So you should have a little bit of a twang there with your thread. If you don't have a twang and it's baggier, then you need to take that thread out and re-thread all, because you need to have it taut. So that's 2 sewn in. I'll get on with the next 2 and I'll be back. Right, so you see all my 4 signatures are sewn in now, and they're each separate. They're not linked to the one below or the one above. They're all just sewn in separately with one long stitch, as I was explaining. So the next thing is piece of card. No, that's not big enough. That's the same next. So the next thing is to mark out on another piece of card. This is just for hiding up the stitching, so it's not serving any purpose other than being decorative, and it's just going to be one piece of card. So I'm going to mark my inch. Well, I'm going to go 1.25 inches to allow for the thickness of the card that's used over there. So, no, I've gone for 1 1/8 inches. Next is to fold that. And then that fits in there. In fact, that could even, doesn't have to even be spot on. When you glue it in place, you can all like fiddle about with that. So that cuts on there like that. Now, before you glue that in place, you could, if you wanted, and that's emboss it. And I believe, Nancy, you've got a die cutting machine, so you can emboss something using that. That's if you've got an embossing folder. Well, it's not a terrific job, but you can see I've embossed it, and through joining up the embossing, it's flattened the end. Never mind. You get the idea. That's the important thing. My little Nancy gets the idea. Okay, so now with that done, that can get glued onto there. See? So I shall get cracking. And I'm using Thick Aleen's thick designer glue. Now you might want to use a glue gun, but I've got a terrible fear of the damn thing. Only because I'm so useless with it, so I'd sooner just do it the old-fashioned hard way. Oh, Lord. Oops. Okay, so that's got glue on it now. So with your signatures like that, let's tilt that up a bit. Cup your glued spine, getting it nicely placed, and then flatten down either side. In fact, because I've got that too long, I've got to fold that over. I would advise you to trim yours, Nancy. I'm just purely doing this for a video for you, so I won't copy that bit. So make sure you've got it well and truly pressed to the spine cover, going between your signatures. And the glue, you see, also helps to stop your thread pulling through too much as well. So it's got more than one use as that glue. So there we are. Nicely covered up. Let's get that folded in half. If you see any lumpy bits, that's where the knots or threads are. But if it's for a journal, you might not worry too much about that. In fact, now I've got that glued in place, that dodgy join doesn't really show up now. So that's good, I'm pleased about that. You see that? I know it's sort of got a little bit there, but this just helps to highlight that lovely stitching embossing. I know you'll do a more careful job than me. I'm not worried because it's bound to get slathered with paint at some point. Anyway, I didn't bother doing the inside, these flaps, because they're going to be on the inside. Okay, so the next thing is getting your journal cover front and back. Decide which you're having as the front. Because I've decorated this one, that's going to be my front. But you want, so keep one aside. You want another sheet of card, cut in half. So you've got half for covering there and half for covering there, like that. See, because I do tend to forget things if I don't repeat things straight away. So because I did this last night, I just had an idea I was going to forget. So anyway, just for now, glue your flap. You could at this point use double-sided tape, but because I know I'm going to be using it, using that in my next steps, I've got little tape, you see, so I'm going to save that glue tape for the next step, because I won't have enough for all the steps. So with you centering that on the spine like so, give it a good press down and maybe even weight it. And in fact, no, I think it's best to just wait it for a couple of minutes while it grabs. So putting that on will certainly help it. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, I don't know if it's stuck enough, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment because I want to press on and show you the rest. Now, so as I'm working each page, I shall cut it down because I will shape some of the pages anyway and tab them and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about that overhang. But of course, Nancy, when you make yours, you'll be a lot more precise. So, with that stuck in like that now, we can now glue these in place. So with your one half of your, where am I? With one half of your paper, card that you cut, you want to get sticking your double-sided tape on it. Now I'm using the red one because that's the strongest I believe there is, apparently. So wish me luck that it doesn't fall apart. Oh dear. You get up to as close to the edge as you can as well. It will help to stick down. Make sure it's all firmly stuck in. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. So where there's gaps, that's where I'm going to slather some glue as well. So getting out my trusty glue. Spread a dollop of that here and there. So with that glue in place, and remove all your tape backing. Before your glue dries, that is. Then you can get sticking that in. So start from the book edge, centering it as best you can, and there you go, nicely lined. And then do the same the other side. So I'll be back in a sec when I've done this. So I've got my glue and my tape in place. I'm sticking in the back panel now, lining it up just like before and sticking that in. Wonderful. So crease me back up. And there we are. One journal bound. Just like to really go through between each signature and making sure it's all pressed down. And so there we are. I hope you enjoyed it, Nancy. I hope you understood it all okay, and I really look forward to seeing yours. I really hope you do manage it, because it's simple enough when you're home alone and doing it by yourself with no interruptions. Unlike me, I get bombarded with phone calls. Yeah, I'd love to see what you do, and anybody else who's followed this tutorial as well. I would really dearly appreciate any video response if you do make one using this method, because if going by the way I did it, or anybody else similar, it will just make it feel worthwhile that I'm doing these videos where they're helping. So I would really appreciate it. Thanks very much, and be back later with another day. See you soon. Bye bye. Have fun. Bye.